Okay, testing, testing. This should be good then. I'm going to assume so. Oh, I actually didn't start my music either. Hold on. Let me figure that out. Testing, testing. This should be good then. Okay. Oh, I should mute the. Hello. Okay. A couple of things I have to set up. Which one was I using? Which, maybe not that one. That's still not even the correct one I clicked on. What the heck? Maybe it might be this one. If not, I'll switch to some Ruina music. Before we start, the thing I was going to do. Okay, I actually have to. I started another 3D print. 3D print gaming go But before I actually start my game development stuff for today, we have some unfinished business from Sunday, which was the Mirror Dungeon Extreme. I actually did not get to finish because I ran out of Durante buff. So now reset happened about yesterday 5 p.m. So I'm here to finish that. So you know, just casually starting with Limbus gameplay before I do anything else. I can probably actually turn off the other music. Which also I have to make sure that my music isn't gonna cause issues, because it tends to want to autoplay itself. Oh, I got the experiment again, where it doesn't even have autoplay. Such is the way of the world, it seems. Okay, what's up? When I see random garbage I have to deal with. Okay, yeah, so doing the reset, hopefully I can do it. If not, at least we got up to floor 15. So resume! Good job on this gameplay. Yeah, let's see if we can actually do it, because we were struggling. I think we can probably take the I don't know if we want to take Yuri first.
말해주지 않아도 이미 허점을 파악했다. 오젝트의 눈은 아군의 강우 취약점을 놓치지 않지.
Alright, that barely reduces any damage.
말해주지 않아도 이미 허점을 파악했다. 오젝트의 눈은 아군의 강우 취약점을 놓치지 않지.
You're so favored? Even with that? Wow. Let's see if I also do UA. It's probably a bit too early for UA, but just out of curiosity, you know.
전투가 끝난 뒤 시계를 돌려주시지 않으면 치료가 어렵겠어. 아빠 멋있는 거 한다! 이런 무력한 상황에서 저는 항상 눈을 돌리고 무상히 미소 지었어요. 하지만 이젠 그러지 않아도 되는 거니까요.
포위만 구축.
76 roll, very nice.
역시 니놈 말대. 어떤 사람이라도 맞출 수 있는 마법의 탄환.
여기서 이런 공격이 가능하군요.
억제 성공. 진짜. 격발.
I think we ate a revive. Did we? I still have Campules, I don't think so. Favored. That's scary. As long as you roll heads, you win.
포위만 구축.
Very nice. Fixes our envy issue.
이 몸이 직접 손봐야겠는데.
Dang, okay. Well, now if we lose Slash.
아무것도 아니다. 전원 전투. 석행.
Could have ran better. I don't know if I need turn 1 ERA.
저분은 어디 아프신 걸까요? 아까랑 다르게 기운이 없어 보여요.
It does kind of help, but does it really? You can try not. But then I don't know if this actually helps.
포위만 구축.
Not like that. What was that?
개체가 다소 불리한 조건에 놓여 있습니다. 이 기회를 효과적으로 노려보죠.
Start using it from second turn maybe.
포위만 구축.
Oh, wow.
이걸 또 직관하네.
Yeah, okay. We're not on turn 1.
우울해 보이는데 지금이 기회겠어요.
아, 그러게. 완전 초상집이다. 포위만 구축. 역시 니놈 말대로 어떤 사람이라도 맞출 수 있는 마법의 탄환.
연장 솜씨가 현란하슈. 세오리타.
뭘 만들고 도구 연습만 하는 것이요?
상정웨이의 공격이었으니 이제까지 당신 탓을 할 수는 없겠군요. 설마 알고 맞게 하진 않았을까? 가망이었군. 알고 계시겠지만 제 도움은 없을 겁니다. 이건
고의만
녹음된
구축.
목소리일 뿐일 테니까 일단 후퇴하고 머리를 굴리고 스스로
Very nice. We have very bad count, John. Camera count. Yeah, for some reason I ate all my camera count.
아빠 멋있는 거 한다.
직원 중 하나가 큰 피해를 입었군요. 그러나 아시다시피 우리는 앞으로 나아가기만 할 뿐 돌이킬 수 없어진 것은 눈길을 주지 않아도 된답니다.
이 길을 극복하고 시련을 헤쳐나가는 해결사에 대한 로망은
알지?
듣겠습니다. 하지만 포위만 구축. 상황을 만드는 건 제발 그만두시면 안 됩니까? 억제 성공. 진짜.
Very
재장전.
nice.
그간의 전투 경험이 쓸모가 없지 않고 적합한 조치였습니다.
제가 누누이 조심하라고 말씀드렸지 않습니까?
이건 치명상이네요. 전투가 끝난 뒤 시계를 돌려주시지 않으면 치료가 어렵겠어요.
포위만 구출. 지겹군. 이 몸이 직접 손봐야겠는데. 괜찮은 공격이네요. 앞으로도 그렇게만 해주세요. 억제 성공. 진짜. 격발.
효력사. 좋아.
계속하면 되겠네.
억제 성공. 진짜. 격발.
이런 건 몽둥이가 약이지. 두드려 패.
억제 성공. 진짜. 격발.
나라도 그렇게 했을 테지. 나는 분명하고 이거
어떻게 해볼 수 있는 상대가 아닌 것 같아.
Okay.
칠 필요도 없겠군.
심한데? 조졌네.
포위만 구축. 억제 성공. 진짜. 격발. 재장전 중이다. 약진 보강 완료.
여기선 이런 공격이 잘 먹히는군요.
There's the
억제
shield.
성공. 진짜. 격발.
효율적인 대처로 개체를 꿰뚫었습니다. 참고로
Rule
기계는 입에
violation.
발린 말 따위 쉽게
억제
하지
성공.
않아요.
진짜. 격발.
개체의 약점을 정확히 꿰뚫었습니다. 준비를 철저히 했나 보다.
Oh dang. Okay, so bleed still gets me. This is probably not possible then.
전원 전투. 석행.
야, 쟤네 완전 수색 꼬른 놈들처럼 흐느적거리는데?
I try not to use EA at this point.
포위만 구축.
그렇지, 우리 딸.
우울해 보이는데 지금이 기회겠어요.
아, 그러게. 포위만 구축.
아빠 멋있는 거 한다. 우울해 보이는데 지금이 기회겠어요.
아, 그러게. 완전 초상집이다. 포위만 구축. 역시 니놈 말대로 어떤 사람이라도 맞출 수 있는 마법의 탄환이다.
치명상이네요. 전투가 끝난 뒤 시계를 돌려주시지 않으면 치료가 어렵겠어요.
Yeah, I'm fine.
가망이었군. 알고 계시겠지.
포위만 구축.
Maybe I can still use moist stasis like now.
없을 겁니다.
Well, maybe if I don't lose.
식살렘이 최고구만.
That was bad.
일단 후퇴하고 머리를 굴리든 의심하면 불안과 공포 스스로 생각 그런 것들이 들끓을
포위만
때가
구축.
가장 취약하죠.
식살렘이
알아듣겠습니다.
최고구만.
I kind of have an idea of how I beat this.
적기라는 것입니다.
야, 쟤네 완전 수색 꼬른 놈들처럼 흐느적거리는데?
포위만 구축.
야, 쩔지.
I should actually probably put this in chat.
이 패턴은
어떻게 해볼 수 있는
그렇지, 우리 딸.
힘의 차이가
I don't think I even won the cash, did I?
원래 왜이 꼬라지가 된
네,
것이오?
말해주지 않아도 이미
이럴
허점을
땐
파악했다.
농땡이 치다가
오제트의
그만 보고
눈은
돌아오는 거.
아군의
네,
방어
그냥-
취약점을 놓치지 않지.
Absolutely not. That's kind of unhelpful. I kind of need that.
잠가루가 솔솔 잘 들었소. 선물로
호위만
만들기
구출.
편할 것이오.
Interesting enough, I have like
역시
really bad time with countdown.
어떤 사람이라든 맞출 수 있는 마법의 칼을
그간의 전투 경험 쓸모없지만
직원 중 하나가 큰 피해를 입었군요. 그러나 아시다시피 우리는 앞으로 나아가기만 할
방지개가
뿐
순간적으로
돌이킬 수 없어진
과부하가
것은
걸렸네요.
눈길을 주지 않아도 된답니다.
가망이었군. 알고 계시겠지만
말해주지 않아도 이미
제
허점을
도움은
파악했다.
없을 겁니다.
오제트의 호위만
이거
구출.
녹음된
아군의 방어
목소리일
취약점을 놓치지 않지.
뿐이니까. 일단 후퇴하고 머리를
격발.
괜찮은 공격이네요.
그렇지 우리
진짜. 격발.
효력사.
계속하면 되겠네.
이걸 또 직관하네.
이건 어떻게 해볼 수 있는 상태가 아닌 것 같고.
힘의 차이가 너무 심한데?
조졌네.
전술 시야 전
받았어.
오제트의 눈을
이시 다음엔 뭐 할지 알지?
호위만 구출. 억제 성공.
Yeah, the problem is bleed count.
적개체 무력.
I'm taking so much bleed. I don't have a way to cleanse that.
이건 치명상이에요. 전투가 끝난 뒤 시계를 돌려주시지 않으면 치료가 어렵겠어요.
설마 이런 상황이면 제가 응원이라도 해줄 거라 생각하신 겁니까?
호위만 구출. 지겹군. 이 몸이 직접 손봐야겠네.
연장 솜씨가 현란하죠. 선물 만들고 도구 연습만 하는 것이오.
억제 성공. 진짜. 격발. 재장전 중이다.
효율적인 대처로 개체를 꿰뚫었습니다. 참고로 기계는 입에 달린 말 따위 쉽게 하지 않아요.
억제 성공. 진짜. 격발. 시원하네. 아스를 돋궈주는 좋은 공격이었어. 억제 성공.
약점을 잘 찌른 것 같네요.
격발.
원더풀 선택이었어 나리. 저의 약점이 뻔히 보이는 게로군.
전술 시야
상황이
장로를
닥쳐와도
펼칠 필요도
포기하-
없겠군.
이건 못하겠습니다. 너무 일치하잖아요.
호위만 구출. 억제 성공. 진짜. 격발.
아, 여기선 이런 공격이 잘 먹히는군요.
억제 성공. 진짜. 격발. 재장전 중이다.
단테님은 매번 기발한 발상을 떠올리시네요.
억제 성공. 진짜.
똑똑했다.
Once I get through all the bleed, I should be much better.
눈에
But
파는 적을 다 밀어버리는
actually, it's losing that fight.
억제 성공. 진짜.
Yeah, I'm
올바른
losing that
방법으로
fight. It's so
대체에게
hard.
일격을 가했군.
I cannot deal with the
이것이
bleed
바로
stacks.
정보의 힘입니다.
의심
I think my strategy has to be minimizing
불안과
bleed.
공포, 그런 것들이 들끓을 때가 가장 취약하죠. 알아듣겠습니까? 지금이 적기라는 것입니다.
He doesn't have bleed. I mean, this one has on hit bleed. Only when she has the tattoo, which I think she has, yeah. This is still on hit 2 bleed count.
포위만
Let's
구출.
see how much bleed I get after turn 1.
역시 니놈 말대로 어떤 사람이라도 맞출 수 있는 마법의 탄을
효율적인 대처로 개체를 꿰뚫었습니다. 참고로 기계는 이대로는 말까지 쉽게 가지 않아요.
이제까지 당신 탓을 할 수는
순간적으로 과부하가 걸렸네요.
설마
Oh, bleed count, yeah.
맞게 하진 않았을 텐데. 가망이요.
So I'm at 20 by 12.
알고 계시겠죠?
Maybe the goal is to go for Matthias.
없을 겁니다. 이건 녹음된 목소리일 뿐일 테니까. 일단 호텔하고 머리를 굴리든 스스로 생각하십시오.
But the problem is like you're still doing that too. Let me try and not reduce these ones. I think they still, since they're on hit and not on hit without cracking, they're still gonna hit. So at least this reduces these ones.
약점을 발치는 것 같네. 이런 건 몽둥이가 약이지. 두드려 패.
아빠 멋있는 거 한다.
Forty-two beat stacks.
다들 크게 여유가 없는 것 같네요. 일단 후퇴하는 게 좋지 않을까요?
포위만 구출.
좀 그래서
억제 성공. 진짜. 격발.
그간의 전투 경험이 쓸모가 없진 않았군요.
억제 성공. 진짜. 예측한 대로. 격발. 재장전 중이다.
원더풀 선택여서 나리! 저들의 약점이 뻔히 보이는 게로군.
Where'd my other attack go? Hey.
전 진짜 아프겠는데. 야, 괜찮냐?
누누이 조심하라고 말씀드렸지 않습니까?
I guess I still use an attack there. Yeah. And the problem is I can't really stop him from gaining this.
포위만 구출.
I don't think this is possible. Just flat out.
지겹. 이 몸이 직접
I'm gonna keep
선바에게
trying, but I don't think it is.
괜찮은 공격이네요.
Just because I'm taking too much damage, I don't know how to minimize that.
억제 성공. 격발.
효력사.
계속하면 되겠네.
억제 성공.
If I can get rid of beat count, then I can win. If I can't, then I cannot.
올바른 방법으로 해체에게 일격을 가했습니다. 이것이
I think, but the problem is I think it's still inflicts bleed on hit, so...
격발.
연장 솜씨가 현란하죠. 선물 만들고 도구 연습만 하는 것이요. 선물을 잔뜩 만들 수 있을 것 같음.
Maybe my only strategy is hoping that him spamming skill 3s will be enough to win, which I don't think it will be.
포위만 구출.
If it doesn't feel possible, so I'm gonna keep trying.
격발. 재장전 중이다.
Doesn't matter because in extreme there's the thing that removes the first stagger threshold. So like, yeah.
격발.
약점을 잘 노리셨습니다.
이리 와라.
해결사의
치명상을 입은 직원이 있군요.
억제
매일
성공.
말하는 것이 모든 죽음은
Yeah, I'm so dying.
매번
I don't think this is
기본
possible because I just cannot
모색해 주세요.
아무것도 아니.
survive.
전원 전투.
I don't think I can survive bleed. There's just no way I can survive bleed here. I'm just gonna bleed out before it actually matters. So yeah, we're done with that. We're not gonna do the Matthias. There's no way we can because bleed damage is too high. And I don't know any other way to survive. I could try going unopposed, but I'll just die. How fearsome for Tremor. Yeah, I mean, you can still stagger, but the problem is you have to build the stagger threshold from 0 HP. So you're not even gonna get it until the fight has already been won. It just doesn't matter at that point. It does not matter. So yeah, we tried, but and I was like hoping like some of this stuff would help, like taking less damage definitely helped to a degree, but at this point it's like, yeah, there is no way, absolutely no way I'm gonna clear this. But it was a good run. I mean, like if I just skipped the super fight, I would have easily won this because obviously like Blood Tinge Ithacus is like so easy to beat up, such a bullyable Abno. So yeah, I try on this one, but yeah. Nice. Yeah, on this run I did get Valencina and I actually bullied her. I actually kind of did pretty good on Valencina. Not the Seagull Gift, this one, yeah. I actually did beat up Valencina, but with Matthias, I don't think there's really a way for me to win that fight. It just really isn't. So, let's actually see. If I get the rewards, let's see what rewards we get. Ooh, nice, yeah.
저희는 화투패로
Negative 200 star day, that's not bad. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with that. Because I was close, but like, it's just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Oh, almost done with this finally. It took me 50 years to get it, but we're almost there. $605. Yay! Alright, well, I can actually do my game development stuff that I was supposed to do now. I just wanted to try and start off with that to see if I could get that done, but yeah, not happening. Bleed gets to me. Let's see, do I want to use this one? If I switch to, actually, let me find, I love, IS6 in Arknights. IS6 is has such peak music. So we're gonna use that. Cool. So back to the regularly scheduled program. Actual game development, wow. Okay, so where we left off, we can actually finally edit things. So, first of all, I can actually, let me open up some text real quick. Let's see here. Okay. Documents and start the city. Alright, so we got all of our stuff in here. Cool. So, where we last left off was, of course, making the edit command. So I can finally edit these characters. So, what we have now is, of course, we can now unit search. And we can search A1, for example, and we can search for pretty much anything. For example, attributes / speed dice size. And we can see that the speed dice size is 6. This is going to be coming in very helpful because we are going to be using this for speed dice creation. And of course, we do have the roll command, so we can roll that speed dice of 6 and get some pretty nice rolls out in the unit search. A1. I do have to make it so I can go back and rerun old commands. I don't have that yet. Speed dice size, and I can get 5. Oh, and ooh, that's actually important. It is shipping it as a string, and not as an integer. Okay, well, technically not an integer. It's a float, but any numerical value, because for whatever reason, Godot JSONs treat every single number as a float. So be it, I suppose. So be it. So I should probably actually make a thing here to check if I'm looking at a int value and not change it. Well, actually, the issue is that value is a variant. If I pass in an int value, then, you know, it wouldn't be that bad. Obviously, with edit unit data command, I can't actually like add dictionaries, add arrays, because it just doesn't work that way. Theoretically, it should work. I can test this. If I go to Game Manager, and I have some array, let's see. How do you want to run this? There's this file branch, which I might move to like data tree or something, because file branch, well, actually file branch is actually all the node data, which I might actually move all of the all of this file management stuff off of Game Manager, just because I can. And it's kind of weird that it's here of all places. But yeah, let's see. How does this work again? Yeah, so Game Manager. Do I actually, when do I create the, at some point I create this node archive. I don't know when I actually initialize it. Pre-skip device just now? Most interesting. Oh, prescript. That's actually cool. Actually, speaking of that, I am actually doing some cosplay stuff of my own. That's what the 3D prints I've been running the past couple of days have been. That's actually cool though. I feel like I might have seen it. I don't know if you've seen it. There is a website that gives you prescripts. There is a website that gives you prescripts. I can give you the link if you want it. It's like every day you open it and it gives you a random prescript. It's pretty funny. Let me find it. It's in my pinned messages somewhere on another server. Okay, here it is. This website actually is it gives you prescripts. So when encountering the 51st person you meet, stop walking and refuse assistance from the 100th baker. And some of them can be very weird, by the way. This website's pretty funny. It's just neo.dev/prescript. It's a pretty funny website. It's been up for like ever since Canto 9 dropped. And it's like every once in a while someone in our friend group will remember it and like post whatever they get for the day. Like every day it resets and gives you like a prescript. It's very funny. So you might like that. It's pretty cool. I actually just post the link in here. Prescript website. Click down. There we go. If you ever want to check that out, it's a pretty cool thing. But yeah, I feel like I might have seen the thing you're talking about. I have my recommended is pretty Limbus infested. That should be pretty obvious. Big PM fan over here. Okay, so add push console. Okay, yeah, so I should probably do function, or should not function, data tree. Data tree dot edit data for, and then I can just edit unit. Theoretically, right? I can just edit unit like the same way you do it in the console, which is unit set game manager dot unit list dot data set. There must be a better way of doing this. Like you can't specify, like I know in like Java, you can specify that a dictionary has a type within it. Like you can specify a specific key value type paradigm. But I don't think you can do that here. I don't know if you can. I'm not seeing anything that you can. I mean, Godot is very liberal with how it does typing. It's very, very free on what. Oh wait, you can actually do type it. You can do typed dictionaries. Blessed. I didn't know you could do typed dictionaries. That's very useful. Do they keep the type when you does it force a certain type when you get data from the thing? I don't know. That's actually useful. I didn't know we actually had type dictionaries. So if I just do unit list, string, and then unit, that would be pretty. That should actually enforce that. It would enforce that any unit. So if I go back to console. Unit list is a dictionary of string and unit. So can I just do dot data? I can just do dot data set right here. Very nice. That's actually really helpful. I did not realize you could actually do typed dictionaries. Peak. Very nice, very nice. I just learned that. So I can probably specify string variant because every key thus far is a string. And that's kind of like the goal. Every single key is a string. There's no reason for them to be like a not string key. Actually, JSON enforces that they have to be string keys. So, yeah, like everything is a string. I don't know if JSON specifically enforces that with the data here. I'm not sure. I'm guessing the arrays can also be typed like that. I was wondering if you could do that. That's good to know. That's good to know that I can do typed stuff. I've always like seen a very like pack string array, which is like automatically just like a string array, a string typed array. So I didn't know if they actually had that option. Good that they do. Good that they do. So I can actually do in here. I can do data tree dot added data from unit list dot data set. So A1's data set. So that's our thing there. Path would be, what path do we want to do? Name. And then value is going to be set to high. And then I just want to like print the list again. Let's see if that changes, if that actually works. Okay, does seem to work. It keeps the color here. I think it's because, oh, it's because the toString keeps it. Yeah, that makes sense. So that does work. If I change it to an array, right? If I make an array, var array, var thing that's an array, and this theoretically should work, right? If I set this as my value, this should work. Obviously, it doesn't like that because I can't toString that. It does not like toStringing that because you can't toString a not a string. Obviously. So of course I should probably make some better search methods on data tree, but that's not necessary. This is all just example stuff, and when I start having issues on the main final game, then I'll start worrying about those. Because like this toString command is literally purely just for testing purposes. I don't need that to actually be safe. It doesn't need to be safe. So I should probably not do name. I should probably do, let's do current health. Let's do class actually. Let's do class. So if I do unit search E1 class, if I do unit search A1 class, it does give me an array. So that does work. You can push an array or a dictionary, probably a dictionary too. I can actually make sure dictionaries are also valid. It seems like dictionaries would also work. So obviously this isn't even a dictionary, so I need to fix that. So hi, which goes to hello, and bye, which goes to goodbye, I guess. There we go. And then that should also work. So unit search E1 class, and then unit search A1 class. Does work. Pretty cool. Awesome. So good that we tested that. I didn't have that finalized yesterday, so I had to make sure that that actually worked. We can actually begin with the goal of today, which is going to be the scene management. So, always good to start with what we're actually going to be working on and come up with some little theory of what we're trying to actually design here. So, today we are going to be worrying about speed dice. Speed dice. and turn order. Okay? Speed dice and turn order. So, of course, we know that we can have some amount of units, right? We can have A1, we can have, and that's going to be here, A1, and we can have E1, right? And they can have some amount of speed dice attached to them. Maybe A1 has 2 speed dice, and E1 has 1 speed dice, right? And maybe we can also add E2, which for whatever reason also only has 1 speed dice. Okay? We can probably attribute every single one of these, and the way I did it when I did the scratch-based library of Ruina thing was that I would name this one A1D1 as in dice 1, and then this one would be A1D2. Right? If we go on E1D1, E2D1, so that would be the command there, and of course when we get to clashing, that's when we start deciding who attacks what, and all that, you know, all of this that goes on. I guess that would be clashing, so it's something like that, you know. There's always this thing that will come up at some point when we get to clashing work. Not at the moment though. But what first is important is that we look here at our data set and we see data, speed dice size, speed dice base, and speed dice amount. So for any given speed dice set, we will have our speed dice, and this will have some amount of thing where it is some size. It is a 1D and then size plus some base value, and that is going to be times an amount. The times amount here is how many of the dice we roll. So for A1, that is going to be like 2 dice here. So that's like 2 dice there. These ones each have 1 dice. That's kind of the thing that's going on here. So what's going to happen is we're going to have kind of a queue-like system, and Godot doesn't have built-in queues, so we can just use an array or a dictionary for this, where we will have a progress here for each dice, right? And it would be tracking who rolled what. So we maybe roll a 6, a 5, a 3, and a 2, and that's going to attribute to A1D1, E1D1, maybe it's E2D1, and then A1D2. And that is your speed dice phenomenon here. Now you have 2 different options when we go down this list. We're obviously always searching for the highest number first. And there is technically a phantom thing that will kind of like keep them at a higher preference, because when it's your turn to make a dice choice, this is when you're going to end up being able to pick your action and then picking your target dice, which can be any dice in the total list. Right? And when you make that action, let's say it goes unopposed, you're going to cross out, and then you'll be down here. You know, you were previously a 6-speed dice, but you are no longer eligible to be reused, and that is A1D1. So when it comes to Daedalon, right, E1 can attack this dice and go unopposed because there's, I think you actually target the unit and they can pick a dice to counter with. I forget. Let's read the rules. I actually don't remember the rule set for this. Again, this is not my project. I'm learning off of how City does everything. So it's a good time for us to reread how combat works over here. Yeah, so your speed dice determines when you take your turn. Choose how you wish to use your speed dice. Using a skill, you can choose a combatant to target them, and then they can expend a speed dice to respond. So in this case, A1D1 still has 1 speed dice. They can still respond when you target them. So we don't really need to save like these. We just need to save the units, because you're specifically targeting like the unit or whatever. So if E2 decides to target A1, they can still respond with the second dice, even though this one is out of the picture, right? And out of the picture also means immobilize, which I don't think Starter City has immobilize built in. But it is a good functionality to create. So what's gonna happen there is E1 can do that, or E1 sees that there's another A1D2 dice and decides to do something else and saves it. So this is now a saved dice here for E1D1, right? And with that saved dice, if later on A1D2 decides to target them, they still have this dice in the queue to save them. But even though it's a higher number, it is saved so it has lower priority. So we always check saved has the worst priority, and then after that we will be checking the priority by highest speed value. Okay? And when it comes down to exhausting all of these dice at some point or another, we will then finally move on to our save dice in order, and you can't resave them if they already have that saved tag. Now, with save dice, how we're probably going to do it is we're going to have two different queues. Well, I think queues in quotation marks, because they're not queues, they're more like, they're less queues and more of arrays that I'm just using in a queue-like structure just because it's... I have to actually create the queue data structure, and I'm not about to do that when I don't really care about optimization at the moment. Later on, sure, but at the moment, no. So we're going to be creating two things here. We're going to be creating the, basically like our first wave, which is just the normal dice array. And then we have the save array, right? So any dice that you save will get moved to the save array, and after this, and then we go to the dice array first, and after this is exhausted, we then go on to save dice array, and once you're in this array, you have nowhere else to go, you can't resave. So we check if we're still in dice array sequence, and then only then can you choose to save your dice if it becomes your turn. So this is when we get to the turn sequences here. And I think another thing that I will be needing for this is questionnaire console responses. Technically, I've never had them because I've just had every command operate based on parameters only. So we're just gonna have to make that too. Make kind of a system.in type of thing. Which I don't know. That might be a bit weird to code up a custom make system.in type of issue. But I can kind of see how it would work. But it'd be kind of a complicated thing just because of the way everything's designed at the moment. I don't know how feasible that would be with my current development knowledge. So I don't know, what else do we actually need here other than these two arrays? Like, obviously we need the sequence to populate these arrays, which then of course looks up these three values to determine how many of each we're making, to split everything in here. I don't think we'll auto sort the array, we'll just do our event, iterate through the entire array and find the highest value, because I'm not about to like do a bunch of shenanigans that I don't need to do. Not at the moment. Later on I will do those, but at the moment that is not my priority in the slightest. So I do like this. And that's essentially just how we're gonna start this today. I think we can probably get this through pretty quickly. I don't know if I want a specific file to manage the save data, the save dice. I think you can just go in here. I don't think there's really a necessity to do otherwise. I think I can. I use dictionaries for literally everything, but I think it is just like one of the better data. It's just, but mostly because I can use a dictionary. It's just a good. It's just a map. It's just a map, and maps are great. Maps are pretty fun to use. So I'll just have the dice. I'll just have dice list. I call it dice all, but we can just call it dice list here. which is a dictionary with the first value being an int and the second value being the string. This is a bit different. And the reason we do this, right, is because the key value is the speed dice number, right? It's a speed dice number. And then your string is who that actually is attributed to. Actually, no, this is bad. We can't do this because there can be duplicates in the integer here. So we do still want to have the type first, then we just look for the int. Because we do not want to have duplicate issues, and we should not have any string duplicate issues. Because we're just, with the strings, we just tag them accordingly, as I said, like A1D1, A1D2, so forth. It's just a good naming procedure, and will work here. So that's how we're going to operate this. So in functions, we will now make the populate command here. And this is going to be the roll speed command. And of course, everyone rolls speed dice at the same time. There's never a time where you really re-roll speed dice. If there is in SotCIE, I'll be kind of concerned. And we are going to go. We just kind of don't need any parameters for this. And we would just edit the specific game manager value. We don't need to return anything specifically. Actually, I guess like add unit technically. When is? Oh, this is returning the old data. That's why. Okay, so it's pretty much just as simple as for roll speed dice. We're just gonna do a. I guess for every. Well, I can't say like I do have to get the key list first. Because I have to, yeah. So I probably first want to get var unit keys, which is going to be equal to game manager dot unit list dot keys. That should just be like an array of strings, pretty much. So then we'll just go for u in unit keys. So that's iterating through each unit here. And for each unit, we are just going to find the respective unit search. We're just going to unit search for everything in here. The fun part is that all of the commands we built so far, we will be able to begin using now. So the unit is going to equal game manager dot unit list dot and then we're going to get the value u. That's going to be of type unit. And then we can now go and get our speed dice amount. So for I in data tree dot fetch data from unit dot dataset using the path of attributes slash speed dice amount, and then that should work. I think that should work. That will be giving us the amount of speed dice. So for each iteration here, this will technically start from 0. So when I said like A1, D1 and stuff, this is more by nature of yeah, scratch iteration is like in you're starting in the C is 1, here starting in the C 0. So really when I said A1 D1, it's technically more like A1 D0, and then like this is like A1 D1, and then this one is E1. This would be E1 D0 technically, and then this would be E2 D0. Which is kind of funny I say this because my ally and enemy markers start from 1 as well. Then there's no A0 or E0, which it technically could be, but I'm not worried about that. It's all naming scheme. Naming scheme is whatever you make it. Doesn't really matter. Should be consistent, but we'll deal with that later. Also, the A1E1 system is completely determined by how you want to code your JSON. That's not up to me. That's up to you, the one who's actually making the game file. So for each speed dice here, we are going to roll. I guess I can't because it's a function. Is equal to rolling the power is going to be it will be data tree.fetch data attributes slash speed dice size, and then our second arg will be speed dice base. Oh, it's getting. Oh, wait, it is getting a thing, isn't it? Ooh, wait, hold on. Technically, this isn't also data safe either, but whatever. I will probably make like fetch int, fetch, or like fetch num, fetch string, and such. So when when there is a type mismatch, you won't explode. You won't just like explode because there's a type mismatch. But yeah, that's a different thing. So we do the roll here. So that's our roll value, size, and then base. This does mean that you can do negative rolling speed dice rolls, which is kind of funny. And then that will then. And then now we can actually add these to the game manager, right? So game manager dot dice list and the key will be whatever U is, right? So U is the specific string tag. Plus D plus I. So like A1D0 and stuff. And then the value is whatever this val is. This should work, theoretically. So, pretty good there. Now let's actually make sure this works. So if I do roll speed, I will then be able to look these up. So let's see. Functions dot roll speed. And then I can just print out the dice list. And we'll just do this twice, just to make sure everything works. And it breaks somewhere. String flow operator. Oh, is it angry because this is a? It is technically a flow, isn't it? Is that an issue? I don't know if that does that cause an issue. Can I? We'll have to cast this to a string anyways. I don't know if that does cause an issue. I don't think it should. Also, is Val isn't int anyway, so that should be fine. Okay, yeah, so one roll here. Oh, it is okay. That is. I do not like that. I do not like that. I'm gonna just. I can probably just cast it to an int here and then I can recast later. I don't know. Can you do that? Is that like weird code? Is that bad code? I mean, it does work, so we're just gonna go with that. So 5 roll, 2 roll, and then on the reroll 5 roll, 6 roll. That does seem to work. So obviously, then we would look for the max speed dice value. So now we need get next dice. So this is just all. We're just gonna be making like hundreds of functions here, which is just getting every single bit of data we want. This one file will probably be like a bit overloaded, but you know, So now let's get next speed die. And then there will be the Boolean, which is gonna be search saves. Oh wait, I forgot. I'm using Java style coding for whatever reason. I'm like so my syntax just keeps getting messed up because I'm like so used to I'm like so used to how Java code works. Spending too much time on Java makes you like terrible at anything else, I guess. I don't know. Get next speed dice. So now it is just gonna be Ramen is equal to 0. Oh, that's like technically well actually yeah, roll speed dice I should actually do a speed dice value roll cannot be less than 1. So I should actually specify that you cannot have a speed dice value less than 1. If you do, then you're weird and I don't whatever. Okay, so you can have min safely set to 0 there because you should not be having a speed dice value that is under 1. That has now been specified. Maybe. We can use some of the other music. Let's see. I don't actually remember what most of these sound like. It's been a while since I've listened to much of the I can probably just play the entirety of Integrated Strategy 6 music, just because it's kind of like, it's kind of a good vibe. So get like speed dice. So for every dice. Well, actually, I have to. Right. I always want to get. Oh, I love copy and paste middle mouse. So just like whatever reason does this. I really need to fix that. Dice keys. Is going to equal game manager dot dicesys dot keys. And then for dice in dice keys. I don't know, actually wait, can you just iterate through it by keys? I think you can. I think you actually can do that. I don't think I need to do what I'm doing here. I think it should actually just work. Let me make sure. Yeah, you can just do full fruits, and yeah, you can. So I don't need to do this whole thing that I'm doing. Yeah, I can just do. I can just do this. That will be by key. I think, right? Let me just make sure. Okay, they're both set to 1. That's curious. Oh, I'm getting minimum. That's what. That's the maximum. Oh my goodness. What am I doing? There we go. Why did I roll the same value? There's nothing wrong there, right? There's nothing wrong. I'm getting the same value. That's not good. Did I break something on accident? No, I'm just lucky. I got the same rolls on both twice in a row, and even that one I got the same on one. What? Wait, how did I get that? What was that RNG? Like, wait, I got the same speed dice rolls twice in a row on 2 separate occasions, and then the next occasion there was still one shared. Like, just the first 2 instances being the exact same 2 pairs of dice in the exact same order, twice in a row, 2 times over. At least not the same dice pairing 4 times in a row. Then I'd be concerned. That would be a really low chance. But even just that, like that I'm curious how low of a probability that was. Woo, that was weird. I actually thought I broke something. This is why you test code multiple times in rigorously. Because that was pure chance. That was pure chance right there. That could have been bad. Well, actually, not it could have been bad, but that could have been cause for further good discussion and investigation. So okay, so moving on from that, for every dice in the dice list here, we just need to check. So the vol roll is equal to dice list unit. Not unit B. And then if val is higher than let's do high. It's higher than high. Oh yeah, I should probably do like the unit. And then, okay, so now we just have to check, I guess we'll just return dice anyways, so yeah. If val is higher than high, then highest, and high will be equal to val, and then dice will be equal to D. Alright, cool. And then, so 4 dice, value. After that whole iteration, we will then just return whatever the dice is. Yeah, it's like the whole thing. Oh yeah, search saved. I should check. It would equal if just because I saved this, or saved this. Save this. There we go. And just use that dictionary here and here. Awesome. That's pretty nice. That's getting the next speed dice. Is there like a wait command? Or a sleep command? I forget, is there? Delay. Maybe not. Because we should be using the process loop. E0D0 is the highest, yep. A1D0, so in this case it just favors whoever's first in the hierarchy. That's fine, there's no other way to do it. Seems to be working though. Very nice. I still don't know why it's like so angry about JSON fail. Actually, it might be failing to parse graph. No, I don't think so. They're not saying issue, right? I would never figure out the issue here. I will never figure out why it's so angry at me. I mean, I guess it does kind of go in here. Wait, which time is it angry at me at? Did I get 966? Yeah, so I think it is trying to read the ref. Okay, hold on. So what if I just do... Because what is ref even going towards? Because ref only really matters for setting the root value. After that, I don't really care that if it exists or not. Let's try that. It doesn't actually give me an error anymore. You know what? We finally fixed that. We finally fixed that error. After 50 years, we finally fixed that. Yippee! That's good though. I do like this fetch unit code. It's very blocky and very nice. Oh, when intended, gonna make crazy with how I do some of my code. I really don't need this action resource. We'll probably get rid of this soon, but for now we don't need to worry about that. So speed dice are pretty good so far. We are getting the speed dice out on the field. This is now going to be time to work on some other details, which is just general game scene start. So whenever you start the scene, and with scene start, I should mention, we should probably make it a convention that, technically speaking, where is it? There's a bunch of random garbage in here. Whatever game stat is, yeah, scene starts at 0, so then on the first scene start, you set the scene to 1, just by incrementing +1. So that helps define that. Alright. So... over here we can do function scene start. So I believe they're still called scenes. I'm gonna guess that they're still called scenes. Yeah, combat is split into scenes, which represents a series of actions taking place in one piece simultaneously, serving as what others would call rounds, so yeah. And we'll probably get some better things like print dice and stuff, which will be console commands that we can run when we start to make this more fleshed out on the text-based version of this game. I should probably have a unit synopsis command too, maybe. Because right now, like, the unit data is kind of just like in the back, but all of this does matter, and I should probably just make a quick way to display this. This will probably be done pretty quickly, I think. Just using all of this data and then spitting out a nice, concise way to show what they have. Yeah. And then eventually with stuff like statuses, conditions, we'll be able to show the status, show the conditions, and it will read it out to us. Of course, we do have display action, kind of. Yeah, we already have display action. It's a bit of a crude one, but it does work. Or this skill. Now I will change this to be like this skill A1 skill 1, which would then be, I think, bash for hooligans, I believe. Yeah. And then then you can start doing your roll 6-2, and then you roll a 5, and then you can even do edit unit A1 attributes / current health, and then we set I think 30. Yeah, stuff like that will start being done. So I can probably really quick make a display unit command. So that's actually really quick to implement that. I kind of want to do whatever I want. This code is still relatively messy, and I do need to like fix it because it is kind of just becoming like a bunch of slop with like a ton of commands. I can probably have a better arg handler here for all of these. Trying to think like what I want to do for it. I think having an array of stuff at the end. I'm trying to think. Like an array of the colors that you want to put, and only the first arg is bold. So yeah, let me actually do that. Have it just arg thing. I don't know if this makes a difference for anything else. I don't know if I can still use pack string array for this. We'll find out. Let's see. So arg current. So for A in args. So for each arg in the args list, we are going to var color. So then we're just going to do print plus equals. Add style. I should probably check the int of it. So add style for A, C, and then if I equals 0, that would be arg 0, then it'll be bold, otherwise false. And if I is less than I plus 1 is less than arg that size, means it's not the last element, then print hook is equal and then a space. And then add I don't know why console log is in Game Manager. It's such a weird thing, but you just go with it. You roll with it. I should probably not do that. That's a good point. Don't do that. It's me, Ruina from Library of Ruina, Nintendo Switch. Yo, it's Library of Ruina, man. Oh my goodness. Washed up grade 9 fixer. Hello. How's it going? I'm glad to see you here. Quite funny indeed. Okay. Refresh console is only used here now. This is kind of funny. So I can start using this. I should be able to use augment now. So for example, in disp scale, I can do. Oh yeah, I should also do a thing where if alleviates is less than that, if I is under colors.size. But if it's not, then that means the color value doesn't exist. Else, it would just be FF. White. Actually, I could do white, or I can just do something else, like a grayish. Nothing I need to do now. Okay, I just have like this. This is actually kind of a better way of coding it too. Because if I overrun my args list, it will still show. So like here I can do augment args, and then I can do yeah, I don't okay, actually let me check something real quick. So if I do this as instead of a packaging with a just array, a fetch string, does it still work? Let me check. There's a way to do this. I know there's a way to have, let's see, it's like Godot, functions with, let's see, something like that. variable number of arguments in the call. Me when I look up forum posts. I'm seeing call V. This is a 2018 post, so that's dated. I'm still trying to figure this out because I think there should. I'm assuming there's a way to do arg list. Oh, my stream died for a moment. It seems. Well, the chat died. Huh. And then you get disconnected from things just for the fun of it. Oh, it's variadic. Variadic functions. I guess that's the correct term. Variadic functions. Well, I think they do have them now. Yep, args. So we can just do, we should be able to do colors. But is there a way to see, or is arg specifically a? Okay, so it still has to be the way, I guess. I'm going to assume this works. Which one will we be changing with this? Oh, I should probably check what assert does, because I guess like assert is I don't really need to worry about asserting now. Just an extra assertion there. Otherwise, it'll just change to the blank thing there. Blank. Okay, so where am I starting to use add arg print? Yeah, here. So in disp skill, this should now work. The disp skill, hooligan, knife 1. If I do disp skill, hooligan, knife 1, and extra stuff gets emptied. This is incorrect though. This is supposed to be, oh, that's not even a correct color. At least it auto truncates past 6. So skill, disp skill, hooligan, knife 1, and anything extra. If I just do disp skill, it will fail because it's a missing. Oh, and then that should work. Cool. That's awesome. It does work. So now it's time to make all of my other args print. These ones I could, but there's no reason to. It's mostly important for stuff like this, where there's a lot more args that I'm printing out. So for this one, it's aqua, then purple. And then this one is aqua, purple, and then magenta. Is that correct? Roll command. Ah, roll command. Right. So that's the arg print there. This one is actually a pretty hard. It's the edit unit command. So it's aqua, then purple, then yellow, and then this more maroonish color. This is really good for code compression, just to make things like just read nicer, because this is already an issue of things being illegible. This is very useful. I can also just start the arg print all the way at the top too. I don't have to worry about missing args like I was before. So that should all work. Yay! There we go. Any extra args just kind of blanked out, but they still show. I could make roll kind of show, but you know, that's fine. Alright, awesome. I can probably make the display unit command now. Alright, so now it's time to display a unit. So we are going to start with, of course, the name. My idea for this is kinda, I may actually just use this random, the random untitled thing here that I can delete all this from. I don't need all this extra bonus data. Just throw it into the void. So, if I just remove all of this. So we're probably gonna go like name and then like hooligan with the colors in as well, and then we'll probably just tab like the type, so we can just have a human and then nod. Just show it there. Not like it matters, but you know, it's good to have. And then we would have health, which would then be 35 out of 35. And then we would have stagger, which is then 20 out of 20. And then light, just 3 out of 3 plus 1. That would be our 3 little things there. That's a lot. That's a pretty long thing, like 50 characters, but you know how it goes. Actually, we probably put light and dice on the next one. So light goes here, and then we have... I don't know if I can like force this to be at a certain length, like there. Probably can though. And then we have speed, which is then going to be 1d6, maybe 2d6 or something. -3, that. Something like this. And then we would have slash 0, comma +2, blunt, which would then be +2, comma -2. Oh, Pierce goes first though. Pierce is then 0 and 0. Just like that. And then actions, we would then just have the whole action list here. There we go. That's kind of what I'm going for. Right, there's a lot of canyon data here. But that's okay. I think it's fine. There's only so much one can do. Or we just start having like truncate data and stuff, and then we just put conditions on the same tab as statuses. I mean, we could. Obviously with actions and stuff, we do need to like specify uses. So like here it'd be like infinite. Inf, and then other ones would be like 5 out of 5 and stuff when it comes to that. But most of it would be infinite. Or we put it at the back end. That's essentially what I'm trying to create with this. It's just a good way to visualize everything. So the biggest thing with display unit command is I probably shouldn't put args in it, but I kind of do. Yeah, I think I should probably put args first, so that if you have like any other failure, it doesn't like boot you out. So the arg print would actually be here on this section. So if you have a failed command, then it won't really, it will just tell you, hey, something failed, that's it. So like search command, the args are just going to be printed first. I think this is just better so that I can actually use these console commands without args getting printed on me. They get very, very annoying. Oh, my music stopped. Let's see, what do we want to use next? Alright, this one's actually a good one to have on loop for a bit. Let's put this one on loop. Roll. Where's our roll command? Here it is. It also just like serves for some more. The only reason why I'm caring about text compression now is only just because like there's so much code that's starting to get hard to read. Like it's starting to get really hard to read. I mean, right now it's kind of weird because now if I do roll, it's gonna double print roll. So you should just get rid of that. This old way of doing the function was pretty good though, but of course now I'm changing how I want to code this, so I don't need that anymore. That's pretty good. Yeah, everything has an arg, it seems. So everything up shows the arg values. What I could actually do is make it so that if you have a failed return on these, it will automatically run the command. Yeah, I can probably do that. So all these failed command thingies will automatically have a thing. Just so that these commands aren't flooded with... It actually serves better, because when I start using the console for anything else, I do kind of need that code structure. So yeah, we're going on a lot of side tangents today, but it does get a lot of the console work done. There's just a lot of console work that needs to be done properly. Yeah, so that's pretty good. It's kind of the next path that we have to take here. Okay. Let's see. Data tree. Yeah. At the end of the day, everything for all these commands, it's just what matters is what they print, and like everything else here is like unhandled issues that should pop out as a int return here. And then when it comes to this, what I'm gonna do is it's gonna be it's gonna do the command list here, and then it will run the command, and then it will do any fails, print fails. Yeah, I should just have a print fails issue here. Okay, I'm gonna have to like really uproot a bunch of stuff here. Yeah, so missing args is the big one. There's also action does not exist. Which is a different kind of throw. And that's the only other one. Yeah, wait, for example, search int, this will then return a -1, or 1 for instance. Otherwise, returning 0 when everything works as expected. I don't need the augment here either. Yes, this just helps. Like, this makes this like so much more readable. There was so much fluff here, if you remember from earlier, that this kind of unfluffs everything here. These are probably worse. Also, Vincent's roll command, which was actually even worse before. I don't have a screenshot of it. I'll get some screenshots of the last stream in a bit, and showcase them in my community post that I always do. But like, yeah, this is actually much better looking already. And even stuff like this I can probably fix up and make it even more compressed, just so that everything here just reads very smoothly. Because before this was like, you know, so many hundreds of lines, but it just makes everything just not a mess to read. Guys, a failed command. I don't think there's any references for failed command now. There's one other reference, which is no command here. So we'll get to that in a moment. But also, this can just be a switch case. Hold on, this is just a switch case. What am I doing here? This is a switch case. Let me remember how switch cases work on Godot. For some reason, search has been very slow, specifically. Like, my search engine just decides it doesn't want to function. Which is mildly annoying, but, you know, so be it, I guess. Thing does not want to work. Okay, let's see. So with failed command, where is failed command? Okay, here. So all we're going to look for here is we're going to do test failed or return case. What do I want to call it? Failed command, and this is going to be what whatever error code it is. So now we're just gonna do whatever this. Okay, so where is this? Oh my goodness, it actually crashed. You know, switch case. It's a match, is what it's called. Match pattern. Oh, is this not it? Okay, so match one. Okay, so yeah, all these matches here. I can even do that. Interesting. Wild card. Binding pattern. Interesting. Huh. That's actually cool. There's a lot of cool things you can do with the match thing. I do like how Godot match works. It just looks really nice. Dictionary patterns too. That's cool. This is actually cool. I like this. That's awesome. Hold on, that's actually really nice. There's a lot of potential with that. Okay, so matching. So we just have to match the code now. So in the case that code is 0, we will just return. And then code 1. And code -1 is when it fails. When it fails, oh yeah, we should probably keep function failed command. And then packed string array. Okay, I guess you can't do match. Can you do match into a variable? I guess you can't do kind of a return or anything with switch case. I don't think you ever could, really, to be fair, but you know. I was curious if you could do it. Why does it have issues with that? Oh, it's good at that random white space. It does not like that. It's so weird. So -1 is no command. Let's see, what else do we have? Missing Ogs. An action does not exist. So 0 is 0 is just the return case. Action does not exist. Actually, no, that's error 2. Error 2 is action does not exist. Error 1 is missing Ogs. So now we can just do match Og 0. Actually, we don't even need a return if we don't find what we're looking for. We do something else. And if it's unit search, we are then going to do this. And then for edit unit, okay, can we do, because there's no breaks, that's the one issue with Godot's thing I don't like. Does it actually let me pick, okay, I guess it's the comma delineation, I'm guessing. Okay, so if it's, so then if it is roll, or if it is R, the roll command. And if it's disp skill, then it is this. If it is none of these, then okay, so then we're going to need var error code is equal to 0. Then after all of that, we are going to do arrow command. It's not arrow command? What's it called? It is arrow command. What? Arrow command, arrow code. And that should be everything. So that's actually much more well designed. You know, I was kind of automatically designing it as I did in Scratch, because in Scratch there was no switch case statements. But now that I can finally use my beloved switch case statement, I can just do this. So if I do anything, I just throw anything in here, I just say no command, no command, no command. If I say roll, it'll say missing Ogs. If I say roll 3, then it'll start to work. And then there, and then if I do disp skill, and if I do disp skill and then something random, then it'll say, hey, action doesn't exist. There we go, it looks like it works. Woo! Don't have to worry about commands that don't exist. But this is actually much neater. This is very, very neat. I actually added code by doing this, but it's just more healthily made, I think. This is just a more healthy design philosophy here. It's just very, very formulaic in the reading. And then I can use all these commands. I can daisy chain these commands if I want, even with the other areas, and not have to worry about it printing out logs I don't want to see. It will still send the return issues if I have any issues, which is very nice. But I don't have to worry about anything else. So that is very nice. And I can worry about display unit command. So, let's work on display unit time. Woohoo! And we already have the design philosophy that's made. I might actually not make too many slides today, because like there's really not much. It's mostly just like coding. There's a lot of code today. So, I guess I'll save this, because I'll probably end up using this as a slide. Of like, hey, this is kind of data interpretation. Woo! So, let's start working on that now. Alright. So there's a lot of things to print. So first we have the name that we have to print out. Yeah. So I think how I'm gonna do this, so I'll probably just print it all in one piece. Yeah, if I want to, I mean, I can just like print it as a multi-line print statement and just construct it over like a long variable chain. I don't need to though. But obviously printing it line by line can have issues with just like some other issues. So let's just do var line, which is just going to equal nothing empty for first, and then we'll just start building off of our line, and then occasionally print the line, and then move on from there. So let's see. Line is equal to something else. Okay. So line plus equals. Add style, and this is going to be name. What the character's name is. And this will be bolded. Oh yeah, also it will actually, the first line will be all underlined as well. That's an important little detail there because it's just a header line, so I want everything to be underlined there. That's all. So yeah, line add style with that, and then line plus, oh yeah, also I need to get the user data. Right, so the unit data is important. So the way this unit is gonna work is it's probably gonna be actually yeah, this is gonna be disp unit A1 or whatever. That's it. So if args.size is less than 2, we return 1. And if args.size, and if then we're going to do data is equal to game manager dot unit list, and then we're going to get args0, or args1 specifically. I have to remember how this works. If key doesn't exist, it returns default or null. I guess this also returns null. So then we're going to check if data equals null. Then we are going to return 3. And 3 is just going to be text equals. Let's see. Unit does not exist. Doesn't exist. Also, we're going to change this to skill because technically it's supposed to be skill. I keep on saying action. That's just my Planus Rolecall style. So there we go. Line plus equals, and then we're going to do add style, and then we're going to get data. Data tree dot fetch data, and it's going to be from data, and it's going to be path name. And it's going to be in the style. In the style of the color tag. And this will also be bolded. Oh, you know an actual issue? I can't necessarily do, An issue I am having here is that I was thinking about having like some sort of length determination where it's like, okay, how long is this thing? The problem, and then like, you know, making extra white space is a buffer. The issue is I actually don't know where that buffer would be because there's all this maybe code metadata embedded inside the text. So in that case, I actually can't really do. Oh wait, yeah. Okay, no, this works. But I guess I can like manually save the length of everything step by step, but that's a different process. It's kind of annoying. So how did I 2int? I did like a 2int thing elsewhere. Yeah, I got 2int. But that's not needed at the moment. Let's see. And then 9 plus equals. We're going to add style, and then we are going to grab the tag, which is type. And then some more empty space here. And then get in the class of the unit. And then ending off like that. There we go. So that's the first line that we have to print. And then of course we would just use add push console. Text is a better thing to call it. So display unit command, like just like that. That's the first line, and we'll start building out from there. So if I do disp unit A1, it will kill itself. Can I convert argument 1 from object to string? Color. Oh wait, cause maybe that's why? Huh. Nope, it is having an issue with that. Invalid type function. Add style and base control. Now I'm going to become the string. Okay, let's see. What am I doing here? Okay, okay. Yeah, I was trying to figure something out. Let's see. What else can we do here? That actually is like reasonable and worthwhile. Okay, so does this okay wait, yeah, that's what I was I had to pause for a moment. I was trying to figure out what was going on. Now why is this having issues? Let's see. This unit, A1. Okay, well, A1 actually doesn't exist because it is case sensitive on X scratch. This unit, A1. So it's not liking add style cannot convert argument from object to string. So that's data tree.fetch data from the data desk, which is this, and color. I kind of want to print this just to see what is getting spat out that's not useful here. This unit, A1. Huh? Oh, is it doing? Oh, I forgot. I forgot to do data.dataset. That's why it's not working. I have to always specify the dataset. So if I do this unit, A1, all of it's underlined. Name hooligan, name canard. Cool. That's actually curious. Why is it all bolded? Oh, these are also bolded, that's why. No, not everything should be bolded though, right? So this should be false. This stuff doesn't need to be bolded. So if I do this unit, A1, it's not bolded anymore. Okay, so this seems to be working fine. It's a bit wonky, but yeah, I think it's okay. So that's the first line of text. The next line of text is going to be health and stagger. We'll have a justified system for making sure everything is like aligned later, but for now I need to make sure everything works. So that's gonna just be, I'll just have an extra open space here and then text just equals now it's time for health. Which is going to be based on datatree.fetch attributes / current health. And then max health. And then for now, we just won't worry about the spacing issues. We'll just have an open thing there, and then stagger will do pretty much the same thing. Except it's like level. And then a new line there. Let's see if that works. So now we do just the unit, A1, and it breaks because it cannot convert from code string. Ah, yes. So this needs to go. It needs to be converted to an int to a string. Actually, I should probably make a safe cast number to string type of thing here. And then all we have to do is check if R1 is not equal to 0, then we just return nothing. And then we just check if R0 let me just check if R0 dot if it's a string and probably a weird way to code it, but I'm just gonna go with it. I don't care. I don't like how I coded that. That doesn't feel right. Well, actually, this is actually problematic. So if it's that and it's not, then we return empty too. So all of these will return the same thing. Pretty typical stuff. There's like this small edge case where it is. So cascade the string is how I'm going to do this. Actually, hold on. Cast number the string is what this is actually called. This should probably work. And then this unit A1 still doesn't like that. I cannot convert argument in 1 from float to array. Oh, okay, I'm still keeping these. So now it's gonna be this unit A1, and there we go. Health is 35 out of 35. Stagger is 20 out of 20. Looking good. Spacing here actually kind of worked nice on its own, but it's gonna obviously have issues later. Next up is light and speed. Speed I might just do an aqua color, even though typically it's kind of more oranges. It's because light is gonna be like a whitish color. I don't know, do they use a different color for light in this? Let's see. Let's find out together. On Star of the City, yeah, light does use the lightish color. Speed dice does use purple, so I should probably continue that system. Technically, speed dice goes before light, so we can probably switch it like that. Just to follow this motif. Let's actually see character creation card, how they do it. I mean, this is uncolored, like there's no color on this thing. But yeah, speed dice kind of goes before light in a weird way, but also kind of after, because like nothing really makes sense on this. So let's go with that. Okay. Oh, third line time. Maybe we'll switch up the music too. Why not? Actually, let's get hard library Ruina. I think hard. You know what? Hard battle. I'm literally working on the library Ruina stuff. I should actually have library Ruina music on more often. Text plus equals, and now it's time for speed and light. Let's do speed first instead. Oh, emotions also exist too. Emotion coin does exist. So I'll probably put speed somewhere else, maybe? I don't know. I did forget that emotions coin does exist. Emotion points. Yeah, I think speed will be on its own line. Because I can also then show on its own line an evaluation, right? So what I'll do here is I'll put speed down here, and I can show, for instance, the current speed values. Right here, like that. Like that. And emotion. Emotion goes here, and I can just show how many emotion points I currently have, which is like 3. And that's more of a purple we're using. So we'll actually start with light then. And here it's going to be attributes, and then first current light, and then max light. And here it's in the light region. And then the closing bracket. Then we have emotion. Oh, I actually didn't even put emotions on the, I actually forgot to include them. Whoopsies. Well, it's a good way to test if my emotion thing can work. If my emotion does should include emotion points. I think it's, does that call emotion points? Yes. So theoretically, right, this should still work. It would just, not work. It would just show an A. Just use it, A1. Yep, emotions, man. Okay, so there we go. That line is now done. So that's 3 lines complete. And then our next line is speed dice. And now I guess it's kind of hard to see. I guess we don't have a command to like look up all speed dice for a unit. For now I won't worry about it, but in the moment I will when I start working on everything else. So light, and now it's instead it's now gonna be speed. That's 1D. And then we look for speed, dice, size. And then just plus. This could also take nappy orange, but I don't know if I want to do that. And then speed dice, base. And speed dice amount. FFAA 64. Alright, long title here. 64 AA. Yippee! Look at that. Yeah, as we move on, I don't think I'll have as many slides to show. It's not as many doodle slides. It's gonna be mostly like actual work, actual visual stuff that I can show off. There's a lot of cool visual things that we're actually getting now. A lot more visual feedback as things are actually being made. Very, very nice. Okay, so next up is now weaknesses. So weaknesses, I'm just kind of doing as like slash up here, and then just going down the line. Very simply. Yeah, I'll probably have a brightness scale for them if they're greater than equal or 0. So I can probably do like, I'll just put it in the same slide here. So obviously like my main color is like these ones. But I do have like the slightly dimmer ones, which are the CC band colors, which are these more mid-tier colors. And then these ones are the AA step colors. And these ones are much more vivid actually. So these will probably be 0. And then this will be plus. And then this will be minus. That's kind of going to be a weakness color scheme there. The looping on this is kind of weird. Okay, so weakness sprint, and then it is stagger, so that's going to change the color schemes. So the construction of it is basically primary color, and that primary number, and then secondary. Because all it is that like red is like primary, primary, secondary, and then like yellow is, well, no, red is primary, secondary, secondary. Yellow is primary, primary, secondary, which is a very nice way to code everything. So verb, primary, is that, and then var, secondary. So we're going to get to that. So if val is higher than 0, and then this is going to return a string. You're going to return string val, and then what is grouping expression? Am I doing something wrong here? Oh, okay, this is val. Wait, why did I do this val? Alright. My brain doesn't work. Oh, is it not join? I don't know what it's called. Is there not a join command? String not join? String concatenation? Is there not a string concatenation function? I guess the best way to do this is just do add style, and it's going to be C1 thus, it's going to be primary if, it's going to be secondary if is stagger, else C1, and then thus C2 secondary. It doesn't have to be bold, it's not going to be bold. If the val is higher than 0, then text is going to equal, and then text, I know just do text plus equals to string value here. And then C2 is going to equal 64. If value is less than 0, then minus, and then C1 is going to equal AA. C2 is going to equal 32. And if value is equal to 0, and there's just an open space, and then C1 is equal to CC, and C2 is equal to 50. That should work. I'm assuming so. There's something wrong. I mean, I don't like the cast number to string thing here. It's kind of a bit weird. Do I like it? I don't know. Yeah, I think we can do something very crude with it, which is casting it back to an int after already casting it out of an int. Whoa. That's num data, and then by default it will cast to a string, and if not, we can specify otherwise. I think that's how we're gonna play this. That's how we'll play this game. Then we just fix all this. I can probably just say Control H. Can you not Control H? Wait, I don't think you can control it. You can control F. Oh, you can't control H replace. Okay, I don't know if you can actually. Maybe you're able to, and I don't know how to do it. Not my problem anymore. We're just gonna do it manually. Because we already finished it anyways, so that's fine. Doing it manually is very gross, but I don't know if there's a Control H replace function, or if it's hidden somewhere else. Is it Control Shift F? I'm not gonna test it right now. Not worth testing it. Okay, so this is probably bad. This is like terrible. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this actually? I can just like keep this the same. There we go. That probably causes issues. We'll just cast back to 0, I guess. I don't know. That'll work. So now we do the fun part, which is going to be all of the types. So first is going to be slash. And with type slash, here's what we're going to do. That, and then text is going to just equals weakness print. The value is going to be, instead of cast number to string, it will be cast number to int attributes slash slash damage. Then we do the same thing, but for slash stagger. And then we repeat this over and over. Yippee! So then it's pierce. And then it's blunt. This unit A1 with double negative. Oh, I should not do that. Yes, I forgot about negatives doing that. There we go. This unit A1. There we go! Why is there an extra space here? Oh, I should probably get rid of that then. Right. I forget how this works. This unit A1. There we go. Actually looks pretty neat. Obviously it's not perfectly aligned, but that's whatever. I don't care. I'm not gonna bother with that until it actually matters. But yeah, looking pretty good and everything. Slash is blunt. And then the respective damage types are there. Actually, I'll use the darker colors for each. Or do I? Because it's going to look a lot at the damage resistance values. This unit. Okay, 1. I do need to make my screenshots more squarish because they get cropped out by the YouTube community post thingy, unfortunately. It's very unfortunate that they are confined to a square and cannot permit any form of white space. So the thing about statuses, conditions, and actions, statuses and conditions we won't worry about now, they will be an issue later, but for now, not gonna have to worry about that. I think there is actually technically one condition on these guys. Let's see. I believe there is. If we go to Comic Compendium and then we go into this link, we should be able to see the things that we are basing content off of. Yeah, they do have one passive when one of the hooligan enemies are defeated. The hooligans will over 1 HP, 1 light. We have not gotten to that yet. We have not gotten to that point yet. But yeah. This is such a nothing burger thing because these are supposed to be like thug abuse enemies. The Shimpao actually have like a decent amount of health, but not much. At least like it feels like they have a lot of health. Like they actually take more than one hit to blow up. I would expect that like hooligans they would have given like 0 health, but it seems like they actually do get like actual health pools, which is pretty neat. But I guess like higher up you start getting like damage distances and stuff. I feel like these people, they seem like rather flimsy. It's kind of funny how like, you can theoretically jump one of these people with a bunch of hooligans, and then you actually get to enemies that have health. Pretty interesting. Oh wow. That's neat. Oh yeah, this guy's in here too. 500 health, wow. Okay, awesome. Well, we're looking pretty good so far. We do have character print data now working for the most part. I can also put actions on here. Do I want to right now? Might as well, but doing this up to now speed dice values, having a proper speed dice print, and then starting to work on turn order. Because that was actually the main purpose of today, was working on turn order stuff. I did not start that, but I'm actually going to take a quick moment to make sure that my print is working, because I am still 3D printing stuff, so I will be right back. Hello, sorry for disappearing for a moment. I had to make sure my 3D print was working, and I had to verify that everything was sound. I have now returned, and we are back to working on... so this player unit, I can probably pause it for now. I might add the action data here in a moment, but for now I don't really need to worry about it. Anyways, let's actually get some other stuff done. Because now we have this currently completed. Oh yeah, so first of all, I do actually need to make a change here, which I will actually change actions here. I will rename it to skills, potentially. I don't know, I don't want to do it right yet, but I do need to make a change here with Hooligan, which is the actual data set here. I did forget one important piece of information, which is emotion points, which is then going to be set to 0 base. I'm just going to set it to 0 base. I don't know if they actually have... Oh, it's because the enemies don't have emotion points. Enemies don't have emotion points. That's why I didn't include it. So I won't actually include them here. I don't need to have that. It is kind of an important thing, but that's only for players, so we can ignore emotion points for the time being. I don't know, did enemies just like not have the data in the at all? I kind of like forgot about how this worked. Let's see. Yeah, they just don't have... Instead, they just have like a character icon. Also, their sheet is way more organized. Oh, they also don't have like any of the roleplay mechanics. That is interesting. It does make sense. But it is interesting the vast difference between both types of... both natures of things. Alright, so... This one isn't hard. Hard is cool. Let's just get all of them. There we go. Let's see if it doesn't like try to jump me to random other music through autoplay. But it seems like autoplay was not in some of these YouTube experimentations. It's so weird. I don't understand it at all. Anyways. So that's looking pretty good right now. So what we're gonna work on next is, now that we have a rough character print console, is we're going to go back to functions. So scene start is gonna be kind of where we're gonna start working on things. So obviously game manager dot. Oh, is it? Oh yeah, no. I think there is a scene. Yeah, scene. I think we can just do plus plus. I think plus plus works. Plus plus is not working Godot. Is there no post increment? Does post increment not exist in Godot? I forget. I guess like in the implementation you have to do plus equals 1? I feel that's like weird. Like surely you can do plus plus. Surely Godot isn't that crazy. Godot plus plus. Well, now I'm just getting search terms for C++. Godot increment? Increment? I don't know, does it just like not exist? Oh, they don't exist. Or at least it's as of 2021. Based on this GitHub request. This like never get added? Those is not planned. Interesting. They're just not adding the plus plus incrementer. That's so weird. What? That's so interesting. They don't have plus plus. You have to do plus equals 1. Oh well, that's fine. Okay, so game manager says scene, plus equals 1. What else do you have to do here? Scene start. So when you increment the scene, we're then going to roll speed, obviously. So roll speed is important then. And then this is when we can start making console commands, which is when we can start doing actual, what's it called? Printing out the entire list of dice. Which actually is an important thing. So I do want to also print out save dice. So I should also make a 2 functions that get dice in order. And also removing dice. So remove speed dice. And then it is going to have a so then it's going to be equal to 2. So if you have an empty string, it is going to remove the first speed dice. So if die equal dot is empty, then we are just going to get next speed dice. Oh yeah, so then we have to check if it's in dice list or save list. Let's see. So if game manager dot dice list dot has die, then game manager dot dice list dot remove. Is it erase? Or I can just erase, and then if it doesn't exist, then it just doesn't care. And then we can actually return a bool. And that bool will be, it will return if it found the dice anywhere. Which I could actually change this to an int, like returning, if it found it in dice list here, 1, 2, and then if it didn't find it anywhere, return 0 if you couldn't find the dice. There we go. That's pretty good. It actually gives me a good value to everything. I like type specification, it's always nice. So then we have a function, save speed dice. Then we first check if game manager dot save dice, save list that has the specific die that we're looking for, which also if die is empty, then we just get the next speed dice. It will be true, and then there'll be if game manager that dice list is empty. And we'll actually just check again, and if it's still empty, then we just return -1, because there's nothing to remove. Zero and -1 are slightly different from one another, but you can just like search it by seeing if it's like less than 1. 0 and value. And then saving the speed dice. -1 means no dice to save. here it's like if it's a good one in us. So now we just do, we move speed dice, die. So we're just gonna do game manager dot save this dot. Wait, it is? Oh, it's what manager? Manager dot save this dot add or set, and we're going to set die to the value of game manager dot. Keep on spelling this wrong. What? So if it's not already in the dice list, then we don't do anything. The dice was not found. And then in that case, the dice has been saved. That should be working pretty well. The only issue is like I have to make like I should probably make commands for every single one of these functions, and the problem is there's so many of them. It's kind of hard to do that. I don't know if there's a way to make a specific callable reference. I don't know. That might be a bit too much. Just the nature of that is a bit much to figure out. The most important thing is that when we get to making functions like this, that's gonna be the real difficulty. Like all of these functions that I'm using now, I should probably make codes that all of this could be done using the custom JSON scripting language, which isn't really the case right now, but you know. That's a long-term issue. Like JSON, the JSON function support is going to be a big deal, and I don't know how to get to that level. It's going to be a tremendously fun challenge. So at least we can save speed dice, remove speed dice, and then get the next speed dice. And we can remove specific speed dice. When we start doing dash stuff, that's going to be important because, you know, when you attack someone and they respond, then you have to remove the speed dice for that. Oh, the biggest thing is, I have to look up something. Assist defense. How does assist defense work? I know I have to think in the future and how assist defense is going to be very problematic. I think there should be assist defense somewhere. Okay, there's assist attack. I thought there might have been assist defense. Okay, there's no assist defense. That's good to hear, because assist defense would be a menace to add. Because yeah, the assist defense icon is just resolve. Which makes my life pretty easy. Also, I love how they make resolve but like brown and it's vulnerable. Really. Very nice. That's not important. Yeah. So yeah, scene start is just very simply all characters roll the speed dice, and then all characters regen light. So that's gonna be the next part of this. Light regen. There's gonna be 4 U in game manager dot unit list. I think it's current light that I have to look up. Yeah, current light. So we're gonna do current light here, and that is going to be so we edit data current light 0 with the value of unit dot dataset. Oh wait, we have to do okay. So this is gonna be a pretty complex thing. So var new light is going to equal the maximum of unit data, well the minimum actually, because you can't exceed your max light. The minimum of unit data set attribute current light, and so we have to do fetch, what's attribute current light, like okay, hold on. Fetch data and that plus the current light plus the light generation, light regen. So this value here, the minimum of this value, and the value of maximum light. Just like that. And then, whatever that is, we're going to edit data, current light, with the value of new light. Yeah, so I do need to start working on type specifications here, because this can cause issues later. But for now, I'm not going to worry about that. I do need to actually worry about that soon. Maybe next stream I'll start working on that. But it is definitely something that's going to be important. That's regen. Everyone just gets regen there. Yeah. Cool. I don't know if any of these functions print anything. I don't think they do. Just probably for the better. I mean, they can. The functions can print stuff. So that's pretty good. So then after roll speed, we then just do regen light. Oh, I hope regen less. That needs to be regen light. I really never listened to Tifra theme much. This is a pretty good vibe. Okay, so that is the entirety of scene start. It's these two pretty notable functions, and then of course just incrementing the scene by one. And yeah, I think I can probably put some console prints in here. But yeah. So, what matters now is that this does work. I just thought of an idea of potential color costing I could do, but that's not important right now. So I don't have to worry about that yet. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. 3 lines. We're still already at. We are already at 9 functions, and it's gonna get a whole lot bigger soon. We're gonna have like dozens and dozens of functions as things move on. It's gonna get very complicated as time goes on. But I mean, we are trying to recreate an entire game on our own, so be it, I guess. This is good though. This is good. Everything in here is working. Damage is actually gonna be something we're gonna get to very soon. I'm hoping to get to damage maybe tomorrow or Thursday. Damage dealing is gonna be pretty cool. So let's see what else we can do to end this off before we hit the 4-hour mark, which is kind of when I like to end. Because 4 hours of non-stop coding is a pretty good schedule. And I'll probably continue it moving forward. Oh my goodness, you can really tell that this one command is so long. We actually are at like 300 lines almost on the console, which is probably problematic, but it really is just a bunch of logging functionality. So of course this is going to be an absolute nightmare. Like the amount of methods here is like really big. I can probably close all docs. Close docs, yeah. I can close action. Like, I'll probably remove action soon. I don't need event costs anymore. These are the only things that actually matter. Console, data tree, functions, the game manager, and units. And units I actually haven't even really needing right now. Oh, Redness theme. Nice. I don't really need the units for a while. They really just hold data. Like at this point, I think I'm designing the game where this is just a data holder. This is just an object that has data, and it just happens to have some data. Speed dice technically could do that too, but I think it's just going to be under actions. The action will just say which speed dice it's owned by, what speed dice owns it. And we only remove the speed dice after the action is fully resolved, and then its remaining dice have been pulled back. But that's going to be a different issue. That's going to be pretty difficult. Overall though, I think scene moments are kind of working pretty well. So, scene start is looking pretty good. Now what's important is that we then start doing, I don't know how to code this. I'm gonna probably start using the signals soon to manage, all of the data transfer and stuff. But what's gonna matter is that when we notice, okay, so I'm gonna make a slide for this because this is gonna start going into the game logic, right? We've been making everything kind of static today right now, and that's pretty good. But things are gonna get a lot beyond static day, and we're gonna have to start working on the actual gameplay step by step. So let's actually make the second and probably last slide of today, which is going to be it's gonna be the game flow, which is what this was really about, game flow. And here's the thing about game flow, right? So here's game flow. And what matters right now is that we actually design a system where we have basically, so we have the game manager, right? And the game manager is running the game, but it's really running it through all of the functions. The functions are what really runs the show, right? The game manager is just the one that says, hey, when do we do these certain things, right? Like even this start scene thing, game manager is going to be the one that calls that through here, right? I do have this stuff that I'm going to figure out later. Then on the opposite side, so game manager has functions. It also has, of course, it's going to have the units too. So the units are here. And on the other side of the rift, right, on the other side of the rift, we have the console. And the console is literally just output and its input. And this is very important because we are going to be able to input stuff in. We're going to be able to call functions. So input can call functions, right? You can call functions. And we can even like look up unit data and do some other game manager stuff, like starting scene and everything. But what's really going to happen is that functions and through the game manager functions is going to kind of cause a certain amount of output. But we don't get to directly respond back. There isn't, this loop isn't fully closed yet. Right, every input function here can cause a response, right? Like this can cause the response, which then kind of causes this flow, right? From input to output, right? That's how everything goes. Everything is an input to an output. But there is no output to input. Like, this just does not exist. This just does not exist at all. There's no output to input. No O to I function. There's a lot of I to O. But there is no O to I. So what we really need to worry about is how do we get this O to I to work, right? How do we get output to force the input? And that's like a lot of systems.in of like anything else. So at Java you do have system.in.print. C I think is kind of similar. I forget what C uses. I already forgot. Oh yeah, it's, well, you have printf, so you have printf, which is a print out, and then there was an input function. I already forgot. Ooh, I need to brush up on C. But I'll just use Java system.in because that's kind of like what you're doing here. But that's always like an await thing, right? Like the code does not continue until the input is received, right? So there is a pause here. Oh, we got story music now? Oh, this is Chesed Battle. I forgot Chesed Battle was just kind of like this. So yeah, that's kind of the thing here, right? We need to make that work. So what exactly is our solution here, right? So, this is kind of where signals come in, right? So then this here, this connection here, these two, this is gonna get connected together by signals. And a signal is basically just going to be, well actually not really, like, it's really like any input I do, so there's gonna be a certain type of input, right? So I don't even know if I need signal, like this may not even be necessary. Really what I just need is I just need like a query command, like kind of a query / submit command. And this did exist in my PLC. This did exist in PLC, right? This was like submit and query command did kind of exist in PLC. Not really query, but specifically just submit command. And that did exist in PLC. And it was kind of like submit 5, and this would be like submitting 5. And submit 5 would just like submit 5 back. But if I were to just like, or if I just were to type in 5 back, right, that didn't do anything. This typically right now is a fail, right? Like, this is a failed command. It doesn't know how to respond to this. So the correction for this, is to instead have a response switch. And now this then causes another cascading issue, which then is the cancellation by escape character, which I don't know how to do because in Linux you kind of have like Control plus C or Control plus D. I don't know how to do this though, so I don't know how to actually do any of this. Like, I don't know how I would actually do any of that. So that's kind of the cascading issue that comes from this next step, which is actually going to be needed if I want to make things, if I want to actually make things work. Yeah, so that cascading issue is kind of a thing. Trying to think right now. Yeah, so that's kind of the next step, right? So today was mostly just a bunch of easy things. And, ooh. That's kind of the cascading issue, right? This input-output issue causes all of this, right? So, like, when it comes to the sequence of how game is gonna work, it's gonna be when you load, it's going to instantly run SotCIE. I mean, I can do this, or instead of this, I can just have a start command. I don't feel like writing everything. You get what I'm saying here. Start command. Full on gibberish of nonsense, but you know. So load. You can then have the start command. So start command will then run everything else. That's when you go into the functions. Then you have roll speed, and then you have light regen. So roll speed and light regen are going to go in here, and then after that, this specifically is now going to create your speed queue. So with the speed queue, you now have an issue of how do we know to run this. So at this point, it's going to then prompt next speed. So it's going to say your next speed. So that could be, for example, this could be like A1D1 is next. Right, pick that dice. And in this console system, you'll have the list of, I guess I could probably print like the list of options, and then you would be able to respond to that, and then it would then boot back up. So I'm actually out of space on this slide. I guess the rest of the stream is going to be mostly theory talk of like how I'm going to make everything here work. So let's see. When it comes to this, right? Like this section here, we're going to expand that out to everything else here. And when you select the speed dice, right? So you're going to first, it's going to first give next speed, right? And then send action guest, right? So give next speed and then send action list. And after that, we are going to then, you can then pick action. And this is an input, right? This is input now. And we specify that this is input. These two will all output, right? This is all output. And after you pick action, it's then going to send unit list. And this is output. After send unit list is now your turn, which is pick target. And this creates the next point, which is when you pick your target, that is going to do something else, which is going to be, you have two options. This is going to cause a break, and then in the game, and then the GM, the game manager, is going to check target response. So checking the target response, and there's two options here. Prompt clash with dice. And then, so this is on the yes case. On the no case, we just kind of skip. Right? And then when we skip, damage will be dealt. And this is handled by the GM. And then that's your end, right? That's your end. Right, and then that continues the process. If they can respond, this response actually causes a unique subset, which is the action list, picking the unit, sending the unit list, and then picking the target. Well, actually, no picking target. It's just going to be this small sublist here. So this action list here is a microprocess we have to create, which can then be caused by here. And then if this is a yes, then it's going to be a flash, right? And then after all of that, that's going to fuel into checking damage. This one also on the no case is going to check damage. And that's kind of the flowchart of what we have to design. Pretty much. This is the entirety of the gameplay loop. This is the gameplay loop. Like, this is everything. Like, there was only 2 input scenes. Now that being said, within check damage, there is a small set of input subroutine, which is the this is the subroutine. And this subroutine is the it's going to be query and then respond. And this micro loop here can continue or it can exit. That's a subroutine. And this is an important subroutine because that's going to be everything from charge, whether you want to put advantage on a dice, or if you want to do some sub-targeting thing. There's a lot that goes under this bracket. This is actually a pretty major bracket here. So this is a pretty good thing to take note of as we are closing today. And my stuffy nose is apparently getting worse. Why am I having like allergies or something? Like in the middle of August? I don't know. But this is the entire game, right? So when we load, we're going to have the start command, roll speed, light regen, send the queue. Also, when this is done, when this eventually exits, when we are done, the done output is then going to just, also this is all output, by the way. This is all output. This is the only thing that's like input here. And then await next manual command. And this will cascade us all the way back to here. That is all the loops, right? And I guess to make this look a bit nicer, we can take this and kind of turn it into something special. So we load, right? We load here, and then we can then start the game. And starting the game, I will show that as here. Actually, Game Manager will be a box, right? So this is the Game Manager, and it's going to say, now, you can now start the game. And then, we're going to have all of this rolling sending queue, and prompting next speed. So that's this purple here. And then we're going to say, hey, who is the next? We're going to send the queue. And then we're going to say, here is the next speed dice. And this is going to cause a whole mixed subroutine here, which we're then going to talk about over here. This, after this subroutine is done, we are going to check, and then this is going to be the "Are we done yet?" question. And then on the no case, we go all the way back up to say, hey, who is next? And otherwise, if we are done, we're going to go all the way back to waiting for the next start, just like so. And in this action here, we are then going to have a couple of things. So next speed here, this give next speed is the same thing, right? So we give the next speed. And then we send the action list. And then we pick the action. And then they send the action list. And then we pick the targeting. I'm going to rewrite this. So you first have the action list, and then you pick your action. And they send the target list. And then you pick your target. Now what happens here is now we check the response. This is now the game manager checking the response. Can the unit respond? And if they cannot, damage is ran. This is the whole operation table, and this does have a subroutine, which is going to be the iteration here. And if there's nothing to do, we go back. If there is something to do, then we go into this prompt board. Why are we going back to Malta? Hello? Oh, it's a key fill. I'm stupid. Oh my goodness. Actual Java material. So then we go into here, and then we have the game prompt, and then the response. And if that is sufficient, if that is not sufficient, then we continue. If it is sufficient, then we return back to the action loop. I'm going to redraw this so it's a bit neater. And then if we are done, when we are finally done with that, we can then finally exit. When we're finally done, we kind of exit like that. Whatever way works. But if there is a yes on this, we're gonna have something pretty fun here. Which is that now, in response, they do a very similar action pick. And then we're going to check, can they clash? And then if they can clash, there's going to be a clash function. Otherwise, we just go back to the attack formula. And that's essentially everything. This whole thing basically minimized down to this. The reason I'm showing this is just to kind of brick by brick show everything we have to design now. And I do like making these little everything here because it really does show where we need to go. Let's see. Thumbnails, photos. Okay. Like every time I make one of these little doodles, it's very important to show kind of what our game is trying to accomplish. On the 5th, right? Let's go back to the 5th real quick. Okay, obviously I showed off. Did I show? Yeah, I guess I didn't save my doodles from the first stream, unfortunately. But there were some doodles there that were pretty useful in showing, hey, here's how the game will play out. Was it not this one? I guess it wasn't. I mean, this was the game manager, how the speed dicing gonna work, which is kind of how everything is working right now. But I have more data tree stuff, which I found out. There's a whole lot more to the system than just the data tree. The data tree was the easiest part of this. We were finally done with that. To be able to develop a method, that's like, sure, but there's like all this other stuff here. And this process though is basically the golden rule of how everything's gonna work. And we have this section done. This section is done right here. And then we can easily get this section done and then expand up to here. The problem, of course, is then, and then this section here. The problem is making all of this, right? But once we get this cycle to work, save for this, right? Once we get everything, save for that section, right? Getting this section done will be much more fun. Crashing will take a while, but this queue, we can probably get that done very quickly when we start making actions. And then worrying about save dice, which are gonna be a whole other thing which goes into this crash routine here. But overall, this looks daunting, but we've already gotten a small chunk of it done, right? We've gotten this chunk done, and we can easily expand onto this, like tomorrow. Tomorrow we can get that done. But tomorrow is gonna be a lot more console command work, a lot of console command focused stuff. Building out this bridge here and getting this main loop done. Then, starting on Thursday, we're gonna get this inner loop all completed. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that we have to do. Today was pretty good. In review, we added a ton of console commands, so many console commands, and we rewrote our console command script thing, so now we can use them in tandem with our function code. Not needing parameterized console inputs to spit out commands. We can now do it through ulterior means. In addition, we have started to make the scene start and scene loop functionality here. And speed dice and such, we can now add, save, remove, do all of that. And of course, we made display, most importantly, display unit, which is going to become very, very nice to have in the future. And yeah, it's looking pretty good so far. Obviously, I would have liked to have a lot more sparkly stuff here, but there's a lot to think about, really. But at least we actually got more than just one method and like unit implementation. We actually got a lot of stuff done. We got a lot of also groundwork done. Tomorrow also, and maybe off camera, I will probably fix up the data tree script, because there's a lot of type safety that's not in here, right? There is a type at, which is so stupid, by the way, because I didn't actually realize there was a whole enum class of types. So this is kind of unnecessary. This is kind of weird to do. But I'm going to start reworking on this too, and making this a bit neater. But overall, this has been pretty good. So that's another 4-hour stream. I want to let it run to the 4-hour mark, but I also don't need to. This has been very good. I hope you enjoyed. Tomorrow, we are going to add, we're just going to add console commands. We're going to just add a ton of console commands and start building up the base functionality of scenes. How scenes work and how they're going to flow. I said today was going to be the game flow stream, but unfortunately there's a lot more to planning that out. It's been very good though, and hopefully tomorrow we're going to have even more progress. I'm starting to remember how to use Godot, so as I continue doing these streams, I realize how much I forgot and how much I'm relearning, and also things I'm learning for the first time, right? Like a lot of dictionary manipulation here, like just learning I can actually force type restraints on my dictionaries. I can probably even nest that to a dictionary of key values of dictionaries and type restraints. Very nice as someone who comes from Java and C and is used to very rigid type restraints and not having a lot of variant options. So this was very nice. But yeah, everything here has been going very well. I hope, actually also, I might also set up a GitHub page, because I haven't actually been able to track how much development I've been making. I've been curious, how much have I actually been making, right? Like here, obviously, we're at 279 lines of code. But how much did I change, edit in the process to get from like the 100 something we had to 200 here? I don't know how many there was, how much growth we had there. So I do actually want to, what's it called? I do want to get a GitHub page set up so that you can actually see how much is being developed here. And then when this actually becomes more complete, you can just like download the game for yourself and mess around with it. And I'll have all the test.json files there as well. But yeah, that's pretty much everything for today. Very good stuff. Any other things? Yeah, Started City is going very well. We didn't actually have to make a new zip file today because we didn't have any major changes to make. I don't even remember what change I had to make here. There was something I had to change. Oh yeah, I think I also changed how attributes work, because back in the day attributes were the discriminated in this unit data category, and now I just have attributes and its own section, which is a much better change. I also might rename actions to skills finally, but that's not an issue right now. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. I might just keep it to actions. Doesn't matter. It's however I want to do it in the background. What matters is the foreground and describing things. But yeah, that is all. Bye.